absolutely spectacular sermon on reaching out, and that true joy is found in when we serve others. And I'm oftentimes looking for ways to do that in my own world, and it's very rare that you get the opportunity to know somebody who's done it in a rather remarkable way. And I can't imagine what it would be like to sponsor and support and do all the things that Sylvia does for a school in Uganda. And I can only imagine the joy that it brings you, as well as the heartache. Sometimes those two things go together. So I believe, indeed, that the light of Christ has landed on all of us, especially as Sylvia, and it's a joy that she's going to be with us for the next few minutes to share with us what's going on with that school in Uganda and how we can help participate in the wonderful ministry that she has shared with all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, Sylvia Allen.
Thank you. Everybody always says, Uganda? They don't know. How did you get Uganda? So, I'm going to make it short. It's a 400 all the way in. What class at fundraising called How to Ask Me. January 2003. He said, auditing. I said, I don't take audit students, get out. So he went and sat down. But a few weeks later, he was not a nice man. A few weeks later, he said, I'd like to invite you to Uganda. Okay, who's going? Well, it's 5 ministers. I said, 5 ministers and me? He said, you'll be safe. I said, I wasn't worried about me. They were in for a treat. So May of 2003, off we go to Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. It's a wonderful country. I fell in love with it, but it wasn't until I got to Uganda that I said, uh-oh, I'm supposed to be here, and I don't know why. But it was an overwhelming feeling. Now, there were a lot of ministers who came and asked me for money. I guess they saw I should be there before I knew it. Just send me $100 and I'll make, yeah, right. I'm from New Jersey. I'm not stupid. So on that first, we were there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Sunday, we're all up in this great big church up on the hill. If you guys know, remember where we are in the little church? This is the great big round church up on the hill. And the ministers got up, and we are here to save you. First place, they don't need saving. Second place, they speak English. And we're the ones that need saving. So they go on and on. I get up, and I said, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your love with me. I will come back and teach you how to be entrepreneurs. And then I sat down, and I said, what? How are you going to do that? And I thought, just don't worry about it. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I knew that, and this is my son and this is my daughter. So wonderful family. We went a lot of places, did a lot of stuff. On the very last day, on Wednesday, this man comes up to me and he hands me a plaque. And the plaque says, I thank God for who I am. And on the back side it said, the children at the Embrisi school want you to be their grandmother. I said, I can do that. Now, I said, this isn't a warm, fuzzy grandmother with a teddy bear. We're going to make it work. Like, why don't I have your name, your email address, little things like that. And so then he said, look down the hill. There are the children waving at you. So all the little children were lined up on the fence. So I said, okay, I can do that. Came back, formed Sylvia's Children, became a nonprofit in a week, became a charity in the state of New Jersey in a month, and then said, okay, I don't know what to do. I said, I haven't got a clue. So my company, Allen Consulting, said, I know what to do. And so I took on myself as a client so I could distance myself from it, and that was important. So, year one, we had 439 children, 139 orphans. I only raised $3,900 the first year, then I raised $11,000 the next year, $16,000 the third year, $25,000 the fourth year. That means now you have to file a 990, not a little postcard. I went, oops, I think I got to get more people involved. So that was the first trip that we took. Both Tony and Michelle came on the trip. We had 14 people. We all remember that trip. We didn't weigh any of the bags, so we didn't know we were supposed to have only 50-pound bags. So here we are with 28 bags at JFK Airport, and the guy says, these are overweight, so we spread all the bags out. Here we are pulling stuff out of a bag, putting stuff in another bag. I look back on that, and I go, it's a wonder that the check-in agent did lose 4 of the bags. He sort of got even with us. I'm surprised he didn't just say, take your bags, go to another country. I don't care, just get out of here. So off we go with 14 people, and a phenomenal experience because I had never been in the school. I knew the children, but I hadn't been in the school. And of course we get there and all the children are lined up from the road into the school singing and dancing. And I'm knocked out. And so I'm standing there. Michelle, do you remember? She yells from the back of the bus, get out of the bus! I said, you're acting like a garmento. I'm not getting out until both kids are with me. So we walk up, and here are Michelle and Tony. If you ever wonder if you've raised your children right, you only need one experience to tell you. And I was so proud of both of my kids, I could hardly stand it because they knew immediately. I think they thought I was crazy. Am I right? You kind of guys thought I was a little crazy. But it was wonderful. So we had a great time. You know, we had to learn a lot, but we worked for a week and then went on safari at Mawea Lodge. So then I decided I've really got to do 2 trips a year. Summer would be when we put on an orphan's birthday party because the orphans don't know when their birthday is. And then Christmas would be the Christmas party. Okay, so keep in mind they had 4 buildings. Now we're going to fast forward. This is my 17th year of doing this, which dumbfounds me because I have the attention span of a gnat, and to stick with it for 17 years has been the most wonderful thing that I've ever been allowed to do. So we now have 1,002 children. We have 26 buildings. We have 20,000 chickens. And do we have a lot of chickens? I mean, we've got a gazillion 2-story chicken coops. We have 49 pigs. We have 100,000 mango tree seedlings. We have eucalyptus tree seedlings. We have a 6,000 square foot clinic. It's not working quite right. We're working on that. A library. It's a phenomenal experience. So I'm going to share with you some pictures that hopefully, for those of you who haven't gone, it will trigger a feeling within you. Those of you that have gone, as I was putting it together, a couple of pictures I came across and it made me cry. Not out of sadness. The crying is not out of sadness. It's more an overwhelming of it here, and it just spills out. So one of the things we're most proud of, in 2019, it was our 3rd year of making the list of great nonprofits. It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with people's expressions of their experience with the school. So if any of you feel motivated to go to that site and just say, this was my trip, this was what I loved, and if you read what everybody else has written, it's a consistent message that it touched their heart and changed their life. And that's the only thing that I could say. 2 signs. The Heinz Clinic, and then you'll notice we have the Ambrisi School, and Jeffrey put Sylvia's home. Whenever I get there, he always says, welcome home, which is lovely. So this is a map of Africa because nobody understands how big it is. The yellow area is Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda, but I want to give you an overlay. This is a map of Africa. It's got United States, it's got China, it's got India. It's humongous. Uganda on the map looks like this. It's 11 times larger than New Jersey, with 1 major road. So if you want to go skiing up in Northeast Jersey and you want to go down to Wildwood and go to the beach, what's the max time? 4 hours? And you have any choice of roads, right? If you want to go from the top left of Uganda, of course there's not a road there, so you've got to kind of start in the middle, and go to the bottom, you are probably looking at, what do you think? Yeah, I was just going to say 4 days. 4 days. So it's big. I was lucky enough to find a Google map of the school. See all the pink buildings? Those are all our buildings. That's our school. Bottom left corner that you can't see, we have 7 acres of land. that we have had planted in corn. We have a lot of the chickens there. Jeffrey wants to put in a working farm that will be a tourist attraction, which is great. I mean, luckily he's never lacking for ideas on having me raise money. I really give him credit for that. So countrywide statistics, 50% of the families live on $2 a day. Only 20% of boys go beyond P7. It is a British model because it was a British colony. So it's baby class, top class, then P1 to P7. And then they go on to secondary school, S1 to S6. And then they can go on to college or technical school. So 20% of boys go beyond P7, 17% of girls. We currently have, so far in the history of the school, 100% of our kids have gone on to secondary school. They are phenomenal at education. My job has been to build the basement so they can do their job. The median age is 15. United States is 37.2. That means half the population is children. The population is 41 million. So you have 20,500,000 children, 15 and under. Yeah. So we're working on it. The life expectancy used to be 46 when we first started. It's now all the way up to 51. How many of us would be dead by now? That's right. Michelle, you didn't have to raise your hand yet.
2 years ago, though.
And then just around the school, because of the AIDS problem, all of these signs to create awareness. You know, together we can fight AIDS. This is just such a gorgeous picture of the kids because they don't have much, and yet they are happy, and they are kind, and they are loving. Tony, I've got a picture of Tony being hugged by like 6 kids. You're never left with just one kid, right? If you've been on a trip, you're surrounded by the love of these children. This is a classroom. This is top class. Top class is like kindergarten, so they'll be anywhere from 4 to 6 years old. And then this is baby class, and baby class is probably 2 to 4. So it's first baby class, then top class. This was where they used to get their water. Early on, when someone came to me and said, I'd like to give you money, please sit down, be comfortable, you know. What do you need? I said, I need a well. And he said, well, how much? I said, $10,000. I had no idea what a well would cost, but I figured if I got $10,000, I could build a well. He says, so he goes home and he gets a check. Now, you know when somebody hands you a check, you don't want to be tacky and look at it? So I just said, oh, that's lovely, thank you. He went around the corner to go down the stairs. It was the full $10,000. I yelled at him, he'd already gotten to the bottom of the stairs. I said, wait a minute, that deserves a hug. Because I really thought he would give me $1,000 and I could keep, you know, I could go after more. So the first thing we did was put in a well. We now have 3 wells. This was the old kitchen. We have a wonderful cook by the name of Betty who cooks over these great big pots. And we have pictures of the pots for the Christmas party. What was it, like 10 or 15 pots sitting out there under flames and everything as they're cooking rice and meat sauce and everything for the kids without even thinking about it. I mean, how many of you can prepare a meal for 1,000 kids? I'd question that. You know, I probably 900, but I don't think I could do 1,000. So then we have the new kitchen with storage space. This is an atypical house because it is brick. It has a raised stoop. This is more typical of where the kids come from. It's a thatched roof. If you're a mother, you're going to worry about snakes coming in at night. If there are holes in the roof, you're going to worry about rats dropping down. So it's not a perfect environment. 95% of homes don't have plumbing, 95% of homes don't have electricity. Think how spoiled we are. There's the clinic. It is spectacular. It is beautiful. I'll share a little later just what our glitches are on it. I had a bunch of nursing students from the Minnesota School of Nursing 3 or 4 years ago. They came and worked the clinic, and the kids in the green are our students that were learning to be nurses. And I think we served 450 people from the village. It was wonderful. Were you on that trip? Yeah, I thought so. I just have to compliment Susan. Do you want me to take over stuff in the bag, Sylvia? Yeah. Okay, I'm in charge. Wonk. And she did it all. She did a great job. At one point, Jeffrey got coffee beans from the government, and they said, if you raise coffee trees this high, we'll buy them from you. So he had 600,000 coffee trees. Yeah, we're doing great on the story. This last time we were there, I said, where are the coffee trees? Well, I said, where are the coffee trees? Well, I sold 1,000 to the government, and they still owe me the money. I said, let me teach you a lesson from New Jersey. Half down, balance before you unload the truck. So, it's all right. These are mango trees. Now, just understand, for Africans, a pig is food, right? Well, we had baby black pigs, and we had baby white pigs. I happen to think little pigs are darling, and they're not grungy. I said, oh, oops, sorry people on YouTube. I want to hold the pig, and Jeffrey says, I want to be in that picture, because I'm sure he's showing it to his friends saying, are they crazy or what? But then I had to hold a white one too, because I couldn't be unfair. These are these two-story chicken coops. I think we've got 10, right? Wouldn't you say at least 10? I lost count there. But remember, they can sell eggs. Then once they sell eggs, when some of the chickens are too old to lay eggs, they can sell that. Thanks to people like you, we replenish the chickens, so they don't live forever. And this is going to come as a shock to Michelle. Remember these two? Derek and Michelle. They were given to us as gifts. Well, you can't take them, on a plane. She named them right away and looked at Jeff. Now she's holding the chicken. This is a child who hated Longstreet Farm, by the way. Hated it. She turns to Jeffrey and says, if it has a name, you can't eat it. Well, the look he gave, because he was behind her, it was like, right. So they had their own little chicken coop. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but they did die. Okay, and they didn't eat. Yeah. This is the band. Was it 6 years ago? I think 6 years ago when they said they wanted a band, because they could, if they had a marching band, brass band, they could earn $500 at parades, at weddings, all of that. Okay, we're going to get instruments. There is nothing more exciting than when you hear these kids play, because we now have 30 kids in the band. And I stood there and I said, you're going to laugh at this, I did it. I got them the band. And people say, how did you do it? I said, I have a big mouth. I say to everybody, I need brass instruments, I need brass instruments, I need drums, I need brass instruments. It's like, for crying out loud, give her a brass instrument and shut her up. This is the cutest one. This is a 10-year-old boy. That tuba is from 1909. Ted Freeman, who used to be the undersheriff in Freehold, and he's part of the Ocean Grove band group and everything, he donated it. He said, I'm sure my grandfather would be thrilled. This kid was playing this 2 days after he had it. The band is going by, and he's itty-bitty, right? And I thought, he's going to fall over. Beauty of children. They're cute. I think this is one of yours, Tony, right? The man that called to donate money for the clinic, when he said, what else do you need? I said, I need a school bus. I didn't know what else I needed, but I thought a school bus will work. The great thing about the school bus now, it's not to pick up the kids. The kids walk 1 to 5 miles a day to get to school. That's after they've walked 1 to 5 miles to get water in the morning for the home. Then school, then back. What do you think they do when they get home? Walk 1 to 5 miles. This is, the Christmas party is what's so much fun, because I think, Michelle, this is the year you went when we had the fun sunglasses. They're just cute. Like, here I am, Here are the boys. Every girl gets a new dress. Every boy gets a new shirt. We were short of money this year, so all we were able to do was goodie bags and the party. I hope I don't have to do that again. You guys will recognize that person on the left, right? Who is it? It's your son. It's his backside. But again, the kids are full of love. They're on the playground. This is a great picture of Tony with the kids. These are baby class. They're 2 and 3 years old, and they're sitting there waiting for their physical. Now, Tony, you were supervising this. Did they just sit there like good kids? They don't push, they don't shove, they don't wiggle. They're just there. Oh, okay. Now we're coming to Top Class Moving Up Day. Top Class Moving Up Day means they're going to be in P1 next year. I have to officiate at this. I'm leading up to when you see this picture. Every year they make me a cap and gown. This year, I don't know. I was just left speechless as to the hat. And I said, well, you know, I don't have to wear, oh, we made it for you. So there are approximately 100 children who've had their picture taken with me by either their mother or father or Joseph, and it'll hang on the wall, and 100 years from now, somebody's gonna say, who's the hat? For those of us that know we collect old jewelry, as a female, you'll have a pile of jewelry you don't want to wear, but you don't want to throw it away. So everybody donates that, and then we lay it out on tables so that the staff, and we have 63 people now on payroll, can shop. So it's necklaces, earrings, bracelets, everything. And they're thrilled. The people that donate are thrilled because they know somebody else has it. This is handing out the goodie bags. Gee, who are those 2 people in the back? You know them? We have some nice stories.
You gave out 1,000.
Pardon?
You gave out every single one.
Oh, 1,000 bags. Well, the kids want Grand Sylvia to do it. Those of you that know me know I don't care if I'm in front, but for them it's important. I'm their only constant in the last 17 years. I am family. I have to live up to that. So this is Joan Nikita. At age 10, she couldn't walk, and after going to everything, she had a degenerative left hip. At age 14, we were able to get it replaced. We had to do it locally. Don't ask why. This is never an easy project, by the way. You just overcome the problems. So this is her. She was in, secondary school. This is Umar Jajubi. Michelle sponsors Umar Jajubi. He had a burst appendix, and if we hadn't known someone over there, he would have died. Those are the kinds of things that fill your heart. I've forgotten who this is. This is just to show you we do pictures every year. Because if you sponsor a child, you want to know there's really a child, right? And if you keep getting the baby class picture and yet you hear he's in college, where's the truth? So every year we do that. We take pictures of the kids. This is Moses Laswata. Moses Laswata came to our school in P2. And now Moses Laswata is the nurse at our clinic. And this picture, he said to the woman taking pictures, he said, Christine, will you take a picture of me with my granny? I whispered to him, I said, if anybody else calls me granny, they're dead. This was Ibrahim. One time we took over 1,000 pairs of Crocs. It was another whole complicated story. And we gave out Crocs, and the next day this kid came in wrapped in a sheet. I said, why is he wrapped in a sheet? And Yahya, it's Jeffrey who owns the school, Yahya who's his assistant, and Adrian the head teacher, so there's your hierarchy. He said, well, he fell and burned himself. I said, take the sheet off. Both arms were wrapped in gauze. What happens if you wrap something in gauze? It sticks, right? Claire, were you on this trip? Claire did that. Yeah. I know she did. She took off this, took all that off, then debrided the wound, and then treated, what was it, like 3 hours, right? Tony played guitar. to kind of entertain the kid. And I said, Abraham, didn't that hurt? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Of course, we've never found Abraham since, but that's okay. You know, at least we know he's healthy. This is just a picture so you can see the secondary school kids. Early on, I decided that since they are orphans, I should keep them together. So their primary school is us, then about 5 miles away is St. Bernard's, and that's where they go to secondary school. And it puts them close enough that if they can come to Moses for health care or anything, we've got them close. The trip it used to start out just we got there, wended our way down to the school, about 140 miles from the airport, then went to church, then worked all week, and then went to the Mwea Safari Lodge. I've added a day in the front to kind of jolt them into Africa. So we go to the Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary, where they have 27 endangered rhinos. And no, they're not in a cage. You walk to the rhinos. One time, a previous trip, I said to the ranger, because the ranger's always with, 2 rangers, one with a gun and one without. I said, I think we're too close. He said, we're not too close. I said, let me word that differently. I'm too close. And I thought, if they're going to charge, like they always say at the beginning, if a rhino charges you, get behind a tree. Michelle, you'll enjoy this. Doug was on one of those trips. I turned to Doug. I said, you're bigger than I am. You take the tree. I'll take the bush. Because I thought, if you're going to be, charged by a rhino. They've never had it happen, but who's to say? So the end of the trip is a safari, because you need to decompress from what you've seen. Not that what you haven't seen hasn't been wonderful, but it's up and down and up and down. It's an emotional roller coaster, and you need to begin to, because I'm going to come back into the real world. So this is with that fake elephant outside Mwea. Here is a Nile crocodile. What do you think he was, 20 feet long, Tony? Yeah, they go on the Kazinga Channel one day, and you will see this. We do an afternoon game drive, early morning game drive, go down the channel, then have to drive forever to get back to the airport. There's a lion. This is the leopard we saw this time. How many of you have cats? What's the look on her face? It's like, are you kidding? I'm trying to take a nap, and she went back to sleep. She can't be bothered. They call white people Mazungas, so I'm sure in her mind it was, there's another bunch of Mazungas again, and they're going to drive me crazy. This is from a previous trip. That's usually the only side we ever saw of a leopard, so I was very excited to see the front end. Michelle, you'll remember this. The tree lion. We were at a Sasha Park where tree lions, I'm using the plural, where there are lots of tree lions. I think it was, 3 hours before either you or I said, Ronnie, we need a tree lion, because we're driving around. At that point, we saw one. I have to tell this story. Michelle said, I think I'll get out and take a picture. No, you won't take a picture. Elephant, this was a little bull elephant as we were going down the Kazinga Channel, and he came racing out to the edge, and he's flirting. He's looking out one side and he's looking out the other. Now we're all Americans, right? Oh, he's talking to us, right? It wasn't until we left that I realized the guy driving the boat, who makes the trip 4 times a day, is waving to the elephant. The elephant wasn't coming to see us. Elephant and, was that a Cape buffalo? Yep, while you're going through the Kazinga Channel. Mama rhino and baby rhino. Baby rhino, I don't know if this is from this trip or the previous one, but baby rhino wanted breakfast. And here comes Papa Rhino. Baby rhino goes around and goes right up to Papa Rhino. I don't know what he did, but the papa turns around, the baby comes back. I want something to eat. When she was done, she flopped over right there and took a nap. Hippos, you see tons of hippos, again going down the Kazinga Channel. Cattle, they have lots of longhorn cattle, and it's both male and female. Remember, Michelle, you saw that one cow that had a calf? Michelle says, I think I'm going to go up to the calf. I don't think so. Luckily, the mama cow was tied up. Cape buffalo, dumber and sticks. They can't see very well. And this is the elephant on our very first trip that Tony was watching out the back as we're leaving, and he's yelling, "Here's this big elephant." And Ronnie says, "Stop the bus." And he's looking out, and Tony says, "How do you know if an elephant's going to charge?" Well, Ronnie says when he's lifting his right foot, guess what the elephant started to do? He's doing this. Ronnie yells, "Move the bus, Moses." This is just, I'm not doing a June trip because nobody has signed up for it and we're running into deadlines. I'm doing a November trip, but I have 14 dentists that have volunteered to come and do the children's teeth. Do you have supplies? Can you get them? We have some logistical stuff to do. But they want to treat all the children, and they want to teach Moses how to do fluoride treatment. So every time we get a new child, they'll have the fluoride treatment. Those of you that, did any of you work in the clinic? Yeah, you saw that the children have bad teeth. I have all of those lists from the people that took the histories. They have bad teeth. Why do they have bad teeth? They chew sugar cane. So, anyway, so the next trip will be June of next year. If you want to go, I guarantee you, the trip of a lifetime. You will work. This is not, Claire, what were your words to your husband? This isn't where you go, where you stay by the pool and lounge and someone waits on you with a drink. Never happen. But when you're all done, you have such an exhilaration of having some value. Revenue history since June of 2003, I have raised almost $2 million, and all that money goes to the school. I don't keep any percent. IRS rules are you can keep 15%. I don't believe in that. If you're paying $360 to sponsor a child in primary school, how can I take 15% of that? That money is for that child. So, taking a lesson from Joel, I'm never afraid to ask for money. Buy chickens, which she just did, but you can buy pigs. You can have a clothing drive. I have a pod in my driveway. Starbucks 10 years ago had clothing drive for me in 10 stores, and then they got a new manager, so that ends. But the pod people had donated the pod to me for 3 months. And for no money, at the end of 3 months, they called me. They said, "We're coming to pick up the pod." I said, "You're not. I'm not done with it." I haven't heard from them since. So just feel free to drive in my driveway. The pod is open. Put anything that is clothing, shoes, bags, yard goods. I just can't take electronic. I can't take furniture, and I can't take rugs. And if you separate the shoes, I get 20 cents a pound. If it's all dumped together with everything else, I get 15 cents a pound. Always contribute to Christmas, sponsor a primary school child, $1 a day, secondary school, $1.50. I take old phones. There's a company called Pace Butler. Doug donated 3 phones from his company, $250. I look for things that cost you nothing, but have some value, and that I don't have to bang away on it. We also recycle printer cartridges, donate jewelry, all of that. Every year, the birthday party for the orphans costs $3,500. That pays for a cow. I'm going to tell the Tracy's story, because Tracy and Susan were on the same trip. On Thursday,
We were not on the same trip.
she came behind you. Okay, then on Thursday, before the party, here's the cow walking by the auditorium. Tracy says, "What is that?" I said, "Lunch." She said, "Where's it going for lunch?" I said, "No, that's our lunch." "They're going to kill it?" I said, "It's better than trying to grab it on its way by." She said, "I'll never be able to eat it." I said, "Wait a minute. What's in the supermarket?" But it buys a cow, and so it's $500 for a cow. Rice, every child gets a soda, and we have a great big birthday party with big cakes. Now, for 1,000 kids, you do have to have big cakes, right? And of course, the cake cutting, who was it that said eat dessert first? It's one of those rich people. So we have cake on Wednesday, and then we do the party on Friday. Very first year they were there, I think the thing that was most touching was when Jeffrey said, "Would you be willing to serve the children?" Duh. Are you kidding? Of course. So we do that every year. And then just tuition for primary school students, once I total what it is $40,000. Chicken replacement, we're working on that. We have 49 orphans now who've graduated from college or technical school. Teachers, nurses, plumbers, electricians, IT technicians. We have another 100 right now in high school. It's making a difference in some of these people's lives, but more important, it's going to impact the country. Because we're doing it from the bottom, not from the top. Of the published list of 6,000 schools, the school started in 1997. We are number 100. In the Mawea district, which is like Monmouth County, we're number 3. Now, this is the one that's so exciting. And you guys know, they don't brag. They don't go around doing da-da-da-da-da. And we saw this plaque. And I said, what's the plaque? Well, we participated in a reading contest. Well, let me see it. 100 schools participated in a reading contest, and they came in number 2. And then the day before we left, they said, well, do you want to see this certificate? There was a certificate that said we have the best schools and the best teachers in the country. Duh. I said, Americans want to hear that. Your culture says that you don't go around and brag. Our culture needs that. Give me those. So, and then the guy in the blue jacket is Jeffrey. Guy in the back is Yahaya. Quite often, you have to get up and speak. Michelle, the very first time they asked her to get up, she said, I don't like speaking in public, and then uttered one more sentence and sat down. But they want to know who you are. And this is just to show, to me, it's a picture of we love each other. Is it perfect? Nothing's ever perfect, right? All the batteries in our clinic have died. We need $17,500 to replace the batteries so that the solar will work. Our sewing business is not working. Long story. We need a computer lab. If I can't get that sewing business working in the next year, we'll sell the machines and build a computer lab there. We need everything for the medical clinic. I'm working right now with a Rotary in Minnesota that I happen to join. They helped me get a grant. Now they're going to help me get a global grant for $100,000. So if you know of any Rotary groups here, because I've already spoken to 5 New Jersey Rotary groups who've already jumped on the bandwagon. And in fact, Greater Long Branch Rotary, March 7th, is having a Carnivale 2020 at Branches as a fundraiser for Sylvia's Children. There's one way up north, I can't remember where they are, but they have already agreed to co-sponsor the international grant. I need $100,000 so I can fill that clinic. And of course, we always need child sponsorship. Here are the organizations, Sunrise Optimists and Freehold. They support Sylvia's Children. Multiple Rotary organizations, as I told you. Our church, Holmdel Kiwanis, Tower Hill Presbyterian. And I'm going to ask a really funny question. Have any of you ever been Catholic, or are you Catholic? What? You've been Catholic, right? You're still Catholic? Technically. Okay, technically. For 8 years, I have approached a Catholic church who will not let me speak to them because my school is not Catholic. I don't give up easily. So I finally found, let's just say, a decision maker who helped me fill out everything, which I filed with the Archdiocese of Trenton in November. When I was in Uganda, I had to get a paper filled out by the bishop of the Diocese of Masaka, and he refused to fill it out. That's the closest I've ever come to wanting to be just an ugly American. Because when we got, I said, are you refusing to help the 490 children in my school that are Catholic? He said, yes. I said, okay, I'm done. I got up, left. Yesterday, I got an official notice that I am allowed to speak in any Catholic church to specifically raise funds for Sylvia's Children, and I have to do it myself. Don't send a representative. What? Duh. Obviously, they didn't talk to me, you know. So I've been so excited about it that I just can hardly stand it. I'm grateful. I'm grateful, Joel, that you're letting me do this. It's been a phenomenal experience. Michelle's gone, Clara's gone, Tom and Cede are 3 Presbyterians. There were really 5 Presbyterians. 2 of them have let us down. And my son, and they can verify, Susan, validate what I've said and about how you feel. I can't imagine not doing it. 17 years ago, if you'd said, Sylvia, you're going to run a nonprofit for children, I'd have said, what, are you nuts? I don't even like little kids. Why would I want to run a nonprofit? Well, guess what? I adore these little kids. And this last picture is just for fun. This is a bicycle. They have a thing they eat called matoke, which is boiled, mashed green bananas. Yeah, it's awful. As somebody said, put hot sauce. I said, there's not enough hot sauce in life to help this. Michelle, Tony likes the G-nut sauce. And it's, this thing with all the bananas on, so it weighs between 75 and 100 pounds. This is a bicycle with 7 of these on it. Can you imagine every day having to do that? And it seems to me they're always pushing them uphill. So with that, now I want to open it for any questions. What you want to ask anybody that's been on a trip, if they want to make comments, great. Yes?
I noticed all the children had shaved heads. Is that a school requirement?
It prevents them from getting lice because you don't know how often they're going to be able to get clean. So we have 100 boys in the boys' dorm, 100 girls in the girls' dorm, the rest live at home. But we shave their heads. You just don't. They maybe only get to get clean once a week or once a month. Yeah, yes.
You mentioned that their teeth are a problem.
Uh-huh.
But every picture you see, they're smiling, so white.
It's the back teeth. Back teeth. Yeah, when Trish Gilbert came on the trip, they had 50 kids with, that was before we had even the clinic, 50 kids with bad teeth. I took 25 at a time to a dentist. You know what it is to take little kids to a dentist? They are told by their parents, if you don't behave, we'll take you to the doctor or we'll take you to the dentist. Well, by the 25th kid, and you have to hold them down. I'll never forget this. She's screaming, and I said, oh, shut up. And I got myself on top of her, held her down. 2 people had to hold her head. I said, don't you yell one more time. And she stopped. I said, wow. I think it was just fear that I'd come bite her or something. But it's just, we're going to make it better. Kids have abscess teeth, rotten teeth. It's sad. What else?
That was Fladell you had a Holmdel, wasn't it?
Yes. Thank you for remembering. I was going crazy trying to remember her name. Yeah.
God bless her.
I have a mic. Oh, there it is.
You do.
For the people on the internet, it helps if you use the microphone. Other questions?
Well, if not, I'm sure all the people that have been on a trip, I'm offering, whether you want to or not, will stay and answer any questions.
About how much do you raise in a year?
I'm under 200,000. This year, 2019, I raised 105,000. The biggest year I ever had was 195. That was when we built the clinic. But I need to raise 175 in order to cover all the bills. So I do a lot of hustling.
Yeah. Are there other organizations that have joined up? I mean, that have kind of pitched in and kind of said, yeah, this is we want to team up with you to help? Or
No.
No.
Nonprofits tend to be insular. I wanted to write a book once, Single Points of Light Illuminating Africa. and approach every single nonprofit, just like me, that's working over there, saying, you're working like this. If we all work together, you get economies of scale, you get to do all of this, and you can raise more money. Why would you want my money? And after the third, and they all said the same, after the third one, it didn't work. The really big people, like we applied 3 times to the Gates Foundation for the clinic, and each time they turned us down, you're not big enough. It's, you know what's good about it? Oh well, it's their loss. They don't get the joy of the children. Everybody else that gets to go has that joy.
Have you reached back out to Chobani? Didn't they donate for the first set of
She said, why don't I reach out to Giovanni? Great, I did call them because I need that 17.5. They said, we don't ever do that. I said, well, let's see, 10 years ago, you sponsored the clinic. Well, we shouldn't have. No, you spend a lot of time saying, okay, I just hope they don't ever see picture phone because I'm gritting my teeth as I say, okay. How can they say that? But they do. I think the guy that was in charge too is gone, and the 2 ladies that ran the foundation, they're gone. So I've lost the continuity.
I just want to add into that other ways you can donate too. This is important. Yeah, sure. So, other ways you can donate to it is stock. So if you have investment accounts that you need to take losses on, that you need to be able to take required minimum distributions on, right? As people age and IRAs, you have to be able to take your RMDs, but you don't need the money. You can transfer them to us, right? So then that has some, you check with your accountant on, but there has some, you don't have to pay the taxes on the capital gains and things like that. So that's a way you can donate without having to pay any type of gains or anything like that, and also something to do with if you have RMDs that you need to do something with. The other way is also if you work for a large corporation or you know people who work for large corporations, generally they have a philanthropy program. And the person working for them, if they put in for grants, they will do it. All the companies that I worked for over the years, I used to generally get between $250 to $500 a year just because I was part of the charity, and all you have to do is apply for it. So if you have children or friends or family and they're interested in this and they don't have money, if it's a large company, again, something like Bank of America where I used to work, you can easily go to them and look up on their website and they'll have a program you can submit. We'll take anything. You know, if they might give us $50, we're happy to have it. So just another way we'll do that because again, giving can be challenging. We don't always have the money to do it. It's a way to be able to do it without actually having to go, okay, do I have money to get my car fixed or do I have money to give to you? Oh, well, Bank of America will do it. Or, oh, I need to take my RMD. So just a couple ways to be able to donate also to give you some alternatives.
Well, and Mary Beth works for Merck. She's sponsoring a child, and the company will match the dollar amount.
Wow.
So that's good points. Thank you, Tony, for bringing that up because I totally forgot. God forbid that I also not hand out flyers because my son is laughing. I don't understand why you're laughing, Tony, as shy as I am. These 3 happen to be the Umar story, the Joan Nikita story. You have one?
I do.
You have a few, right?
I probably
You've got them too, yeah. And then one is an interview. I think you guys have them? No, I don't think. Sorry. I am remiss, absolutely remiss. See if I've got enough to hand out. Anyway, I guess what Tony says, what I say, any way you can help. Any way you can help helps us make a difference in these children's lives. And if you think about every time you help, 100 years from now, maybe, it'll be a different country. I know everybody thinks I'm going to live forever, but I don't think I'm going to make it another 100 years. If I can, I'll let you know. But let's think about how we're making a difference. And I think...
Let's start